Okay, I'm back. I lost y'all for a minute there. So I was just reporting that we are almost all sold out for the Epic Women's Conference, which is super exciting. We have three, count them, 1, 2, 3 tickets left. Three. And so if you are interested in attending, you literally got to go run right now to your computer and go to my website, LaShondaLeslieSmith.com. Hey, Betty, how you doing? /epic, EPIC, and register. Okay, this is for the Epic Women's Conference that's taking place this Saturday. Oh my God, that like creeped up on me. Hey, Ebony, how you doing? Oh my goodness, I am just thrilled. Ebony's registered. Keisha's registered. My husband is not registered, but he'll be there, of course. And so we have 3 tickets left. When I was cut off just a little while ago, I ran to my inventory to see if it said that it had decreased from 3. There still are 3 tickets left there. At 2 o'clock this morning, there were 10. So those 7 sold in the last few hours. And so if you are, I've heard a lot of people saying, hey, I'm going to get my ticket at the door. Please spread the word for me that there is no ticket at the door situation happening. This is a pre-registered event situation. And so in order for us to give you the best service and provide the level of excellence that I require whenever I'm doing anything, we need to know in advance that you're coming. So again, I wanted to just also reiterate that lunch is on your own for the conference. So you do need to plan to do that. Grappa is at the hotel. It's at the Hilton Garden Inn. Hey, Jayshana. And so if you're going to plan to eat at Grappa, I would make a reservation because there will be over 200 women there. Over 200 women there at the Epic Women's Conference on Saturday. Hey, Marianne. September 29th at the Hilton Garden Inn in College Town in Rochester, New York. And we are going to just talk about some dynamic things there. And we're going to have some dynamic women who will be teaching. So far, Keeping My Sanity, closed. Overcoming Fear, closed. Healthy Relationships, closed. Hey, LaShonda McKinney. Developing My Story, Your Personal Story, closed. Healthy Emotions, closed. Addressing Stagnation, closed. And Leadership Lessons are closed. We still have available for you all Authenticity, Entrepreneurship with Ashley Cross, grief, dealing with grief, and Life Challenges is also closed, if I didn't say that already. And then Finding Balance is also open. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. We only have 4. I've been saying 5. We only have 4 that are still open. I should change that on my documentation to make sure that you all are aware. So what am I talking about? Hey, cousin, how you doing? Mr. Kaysen. I'm talking about the Epic Women's Conference that's happening in Rochester, New York at the Hilton Garden Inn in College Town this Saturday, where none other than yours truly will be your keynote speaker in the afternoon. And I'll be doing an opening welcome just after my girl LaShonda McKadney is going to bring it for you all. And we also have Rebecca Hoosevelt, who is going to be ministering to us in the afternoon. So I'm very, very excited about all of this. I was saying to those who started very early on in this conversation that we only have 3 tickets left. 1, 2, 3 tickets left. I just checked inventory, and I'm going to be checking it a little bit while I am online with all of you. So if you know someone who is interested in attending, then they need to register today because, I mean, who knows? Hey, Uncle. Who knows? Those 3 tickets could last all week, or they could go in the next hour. I don't really know, but I've heard people say that they were going to pay at the door. There is no paying at the door. So please tell your mama, tell your cousin, tell your sister, and your aunt, and all of them that there are 3 tickets left. 3. So you want to plan accordingly. And so some of the things that we're going to talk about at the women's conference, and I put up a post about this just a little while ago. It was just a revelation. I feel like God gives me downloads all the time. Sometimes we have friends in life who are real cool people. They're great people. They're fun to hang out with. You can go to the movies with them. You can do all kinds of stuff with them. But those are not necessarily the people in your life who's going to push you and propel you to be who God has really purposed you to be. And you have to realize that is okay. Because I hear a lot of people who do a lot of things out there, and they're like, well, the people who I thought was supposed to be there for me and the people who should have been there for me, they weren't there for me. Well, the reality is, if you're really trusting God for whatever the thing is that he's called you to do, it doesn't matter who shows up. As long as the people that he has purposed to be there to support you show up, that's all that really matter. Stop holding people accountable and holding them to a standard that they've never been meant to meet for you in your life. Every single season will bring different people in your life, and those different people will have different things to offer you, and you should be okay with that. But we hate so much. We hate so much on people who are close friends of ours, who've been in our lives for a long time. They have been our best friend. Hey, Joanne. They may have been our best friend since the 3rd grade. And so all of a sudden, that means that they owe us something, that they're obligated to support us in the way that we think they support us, not in the way that God has purpose for them to support us. And sometimes we need those people to get out of our way. The people who we think who are supposed to be there for us, we need them to get out of our way, because we will become more reliant on them than we are on God. And he said, put your trust in me, that I am the way, the truth, and the light, and that we need to follow him. He's the one making the path for us to do whatever it is, to start that career, to be in that marriage. And that even comes for our spouses in many cases. We cannot be more reliant on our spouses than we are on the Father. And what we will see in marriages, and some of you out there listening or will listen to this later, you will see that there have been some turmoil in your marriage. There have been some hard times. There has been some difficult times. And sometimes those situations have been created by us because we found ourselves being more reliant on the husband or wife that we have versus the Father, the source of our strength. And God is a jealous God. He will not allow that. I promise you, I found myself in that situation where my husband became my God. And I'm telling you that I needed to find myself more committed to God than I was to my husband. Now, that does not mean that I'm running. See, there's a difference between commitment to God and commitment to the church. So I promise you, I'm not doing anything for the church until I take care of home. So don't misunderstand what I'm trying to communicate here. See, we get that all backwards. We get that all twisted. Hey, Shalon, God is our first source. We go to, it's in that order. It's God, it's our family next. And as far as our family comes, it's God, it's our spouses, it's our children. Yes, I said our spouses before our children. I said that. Okay, you can take that all the way to the bank if you want to, because if you are not in alliance with your spouse, your children will know that. And children unknowingly will cause a separation and a divide because you have not put yourself in right alignment, in right order. So let's repeat after me. It's God, it's my spouse, it's my children, and in that order. And so the same goes for all of these friends. So stop looking at people who are in your life, be it they be close friends or just acquaintances. They are not necessarily purposed to pour into your life in this particular season in your life. And that should be okay. Let those people off the hook. Stop side-eyeing them. Stop. We got one more registration. It just popped up on my computer. So that's 2 That's left, y'all. Y'all think I'm playing. Go to LaShondaLeslieSmith.com/epic, EPIC, and register for this conference. It is a very small investment that you will make for yourself. And I promise you, it is the smallest investment that you will ever get to make with an epic conference. We have our epic women's retreat that's coming up next year in Jamaica. Like, how do you start planning a conference? This is not my first conference. I've done a couple smaller conferences here and there, 20, 30 women or so. And I never even really saw it as a career or a thing that I could do. I just wanted to be obedient to God. And I knew that he had given me some wisdom through experiences that I had come through. And then I wanted to be able to pour that back into other women. Or he would give me an opportunity to help women sort of prepare for whatever the season that they're in. So I never expected that I would be obedient in doing this conference and that we would have over 200 women. Listen, I'm not about to get emotional on this live with y'all. Y'all not going to make me do it, okay? I'm going to get myself all together right now. But anyways, over 200 women. Over 200 women will come and their lives will be changed forever. So mark the day, September 29th. September 29th. I told y'all wasn't going to make me do it, but good Lord, I'm just a puddle right now, right? So Joanne, if you really, 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 really want to go, you inbox me, okay? So over 200 women will be at the Epic Women's Conference. Hey, Latasha, on Saturday, September 29th. Oh my God, y'all got me over here tearing up. That's not right, okay? Yes, it definitely is genuine. And I absolutely feel like I'm walking in my purpose. And I want everybody to know what that feels like. And you cannot help but get emotional when you know what God is doing in your life. And you know that it's nothing that you did. This is not a LaShonda thing. This is not a LaShonda thing. This is all God. And he is so amazing and has kept me through so many difficult things. And like I said, he has sent people who have poured into this conference and have poured into my life during the time of planning this conference. And I don't have false expectations about people in my life. I trust that whoever can do what they can will do what they can. And I believe that every friendship that I have is genuine, and I don't have false expectations around what they're supposed to provide for me or do for me, etc. Because I trust God. My hope is in him. He is my source for every single thing that I need. And I didn't know that he was my source that was keeping me when I was 14 years old and trying to raise a child on my own. But he was. I've lived a little bit of life, and I've come to understand that that was his purpose. He used that. It wasn't his perfect will for my life. It was his permissive will. Because see, we allow things to come into our lives. But God is so good. That's the thing about the Father. He is so good that even those things that we find ourselves in, that he is not purpose for us, he's not designed for us, he can even allow us to fix that thing. Hey, Michelle, he can fix that thing even so for us. And so he will turn it around and he will use it for our good. What the enemy intends for evil, God will turn it around and use it for our good. And so there have been people who've been showing up. I didn't put out a call for sponsorship. We got sponsorship. I didn't put out a call for people to donate tickets so that other women can attend who could not afford to attend. And we got that. I did not necessarily put out a call for all the women who have joined our conference crew, but they have said, hey, I want to support you. I want to see this thing happen. And so I just trusted God. And I'm not looking for anybody to do anything that they cannot do. And I'm not holding anybody accountable. And so I just want to share. I'm sharing that with you all because I see posts all the time on Facebook with people saying, oh yeah, family ain't about nothing. It just be those people and da 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 da. Like, My God, healing for the people, healing for the vision, healing for our heart. I find that oftentimes people who find themselves in that position talking about, well, you never did this, or you never liked my Facebook post, or you wasn't there for me. I had 3 events and you ain't show up to none of them. Like, okay, now I'm not saying that people who care for you shouldn't support you. I do think that that is the case. But I think oftentimes when you find yourself saying those kinds of things a lot, then there are some things inside of you that you have not allowed to heal, that you are depending on people more than you are depending on God. And God is the only person that will never fail you. And so that's what my message is about today, other than the fact that we only have 2 tickets left. Two, is that we need to stop holding people up to false expectations. First of all, we have a lot of, and this goes for not just friendships, but romantic relationships. We have unmet expectations, we have unspoken expectations, and we have unrealistic expectations. Okay, so if we've not spoken these expectations, how do I know as your friend this is what you expect of me? Like, did we sign a friendship contract that said LaShunda needs to do X, Y, Z in order to qualify as a good friend in your eyes? Okay. And that's not okay. And it's not fair. Those were unspoken expectations. Stop doing that to people. If you really have a need, you have a hunger, you have a desire to connect with a person in a specific kind of way, then the onus is on you to communicate that in your friendships and in your romantic relationships. With your husband, with your wife, you need to communicate. You have to open up your mouth. A closed mouth does not get fed. And the Bible tells us that we have not because we ask not. And so I ask all the time. Y'all can ask my husband. I ask, okay? Because I'm a happy wife, and he understands happy wife, happy life. So we all happy around here. Now that doesn't mean that there aren't hard times, and that doesn't mean that he hasn't failed me. And I'm certain there have been times when I failed him. However, we sit down and we talk about that. Now, I'm the communicator in the family, so that's a little bit easier for me to do because I've got a lot of words. I have a lot of words, and I use them. I use my words. Sometimes I tell my husband when he's trying to communicate something to me and I don't really get it, hey, Jessica, I'll say, sweetie, use your words, all of them. And he be giving me the evil eye because he's like, I'm not one of your kids, so don't tell me to use my words. So I take that. But we just don't communicate enough. We don't communicate enough. And so we had to figure out what were our communication strategies and what worked for us in our household. What did we need? And so for my husband, because he's a man of few words, he will oftentimes write down what he's feeling because he feels that sometimes when it's time for him to express it, it doesn't come out the way that he wants. And there have been times, and now that I've understand this, hey, LaShunda, hey, sis, sidebar, I'm going to get back to this whole communication piece. But did I tell y'all that there is like hundreds of LaShundas with the exact same spelling of my name on Facebook? So a couple years back, someone reached out to me and invited me to a group called the LaShundas of the World. Yes, I said that. The LaShundas of the World. There was, at the time, several years ago, there were like 350 of us. And so LaShunda just joined us, and there's a whole bunch of us. And they have meetups like there was one in Texas not too long ago, last July, when I was there in Texas, and I unfortunately couldn't make it because my husband and I had already had plans for that particular evening. But there are the LaShundas of the world. So if y'all thought that my name was super unique, and I know LaShunda McCadney was on earlier, she wouldn't qualify for the LaShundas of the world because she's with an A and not a U. So in order to be a part of the LaShundas of the world, your name has to be spelled exactly the same way as ours. And there's hundreds of us, y'all. I just thought I would throw that in for free. It's a fun fact about LaShunda. But what people don't really understand is that LaShunda actually means stone in French. Can you believe it? And so this is the second sidebar, but there's 2 tickets left, so it's okay. So my second sidebar is how I got my name. And so my friends would have already heard this story before, but when my mother gave birth to me, I don't know if I guess they were deciding what they wanted to name me. And so my dad wasn't at the hospital at the time when my mom was having this conversation with him. But she said, Danny, what do you want to name her? My name originally was going to be Danielle because my dad's name is Daniel. And I don't think I look like a Danielle, but I don't know. What y'all think? Y'all give me a thumbs up if I look like a Danielle. I think I look like a LaShonda. But anyhow, so my mom called my dad and said, Danny, what should we name her? He's like, I don't know. LaShonda. I don't know what we should name her. And so my dad says, by the time he got back to the hospital, to sign the birth certificate, my mom had the birth certificate paperwork. My mother had listed my name as LaShonda. He said, I didn't know she was going to name you that. I was joking. Basically, my dad was mimicking my grandmother speaking tongues in church. I said that. He was mimicking my grandma to I don't know, Shanda. So when y'all hear people in church saying Shunda, they calling me. It's something in the heavenlies. I don't know. I was marked from the moment that they named me, okay? From the time that my parents conceived me and from the beginning and from the formation of the earth, God knew that I would be a Ikamashanda Lashanda. So that's just a fun fact. But back to my communication. I love to have fun. But back to communication. Just figuring out strategies that works for you in your relationships and with your friendships, because that's important. I mean, how many things go unsaid? And how often are we holding people to standards, not just that they can't meet, but they don't even know. They're not even aware. This has not been an expectation in any other relationship that they've had. And I'm telling you, hey, cousin, hey, Tanisha, how you doing? I'm telling you, I'm as real and as authentic as they come. All right. And I promise you that if I have something to say to you, if my feelings have been hurt, or if I just have an expectation in our friendship, or I want you to be somewhere with me, I expect you to show up or go somewhere, I'm going to pick up the phone and I'm going to call you, because that's rare nowadays for people to actually physically talk. And I don't know if this qualifies me as old. I don't really think I'm old. I think I'm very young. But I prefer to talk on the phone or meet in person than I do text messages and emails. And y'all with the email and text shade and the inbox, and stop it. Okay? Just stop it. If you have something to say to a person, woman up, man up, call them on the phone. Have a hard conversation. We need to have crucial conversation in today's age, and we don't have enough of them. And because we're not having crucial conversations, there are whole relationships that are being broken because you were hurt 10 years ago. 10 years ago, sis, come on. And they don't know that? That's your fault. Shame on you. Shame on you that somebody hurt you and you did not have, I was going to say something that's probably not appropriate. And you didn't have the guts to tell that person. You owe it to that person. And so I would say to you, if you're feeling that that person has broken me, they've hurt me, and so I'm staying away from them, you hold the responsibility of that broken relationship more than they do, especially if they were unaware. If you did not give somebody the opportunity to be set free in the relationship, and furthermore, you piled on top of the initial hurt. So there was hurt number one in 1993. Okay. And then you didn't say anything about it because you was like, I'm just going to get over it. I'm just going to, it's no big deal because my feelings ain't hurt. But really you are, sis, because every time you see them, you're giving them shade. Stop with the shade. Stop it. Okay. Be real women and stand up. And maybe it means that person does not deserve to be a character in the play called Your Life. And that's okay. That should be okay too. But we also need to make sure that we're doing our part and we're communicating to our sisters and to our brothers, to our family members. And then when we've done that, and prayerfully, hopefully, they come to an understanding of what we meant. Maybe it was just a big misunderstanding. Maybe you just got a new pair of shoes and you told them how much you loved their shoes and they stepped on your toe and you swear it was on purpose. But they actually just stumbled a little bit, sis. It wasn't that serious. And you took it someplace it didn't have to go. Shame on you. So you have the responsibility of getting that right. Now let's say you decided, this 10-year, one day, whatever it is, hurt that you have, that you're going to address it with this person. And you're gonna be a big girl. You're gonna put on your big girl drawers, and you're gonna go and you're gonna address that head on. Okay, it's a manner in which you come to the person as well. Because if your heart is not right, you can forget about it. You can expect them to be defensive, and then guess what? That's still your responsibility. Because you came at the sister sideways, or you came at the brother sideways. Check your heart first before you decide to go and write an alt with a brother or sister. And so after you have checked your heart, you've communicated first. You're ready to communicate. You're willing to communicate. You've checked your heart to make sure that you are in right alignment and that you're going to the person in the right way. And then you shared your heart. You've laid it all out. And they still was like, well, I don't care what you say. I ain't mean it that way. That's not how it was. You shake the dust off of your feet. You let it go. And guess what? When you see that sister in public the next time, you hug them. Recently, I have been on a 21-day fast with Dr. Faith. If you don't know Dr. Faith, I encourage you to look this sister up. She is a dynamic woman who is doing really great things for the kingdom, and she's got such a supernatural wisdom because it's not like she's lived on this earth for 80 years and she knows a lot about a lot. And so during this the fast, we have a phone call every morning at 6 a.m. to pray, and there are different things that we pray about on the prayer call. And this one particular time we were praying against hurts in our hearts and things that we might have had experienced. And I remember the first thing, it wasn't anything that came out of my mouth, but it was a thought. And I said, I don't have any grudges with anybody because, I'm direct, I'm upfront. I try to resolve any issues that I have with people right away. And I shake the dust off. If you don't want to be my friend, there's like millions of people on the earth. I'm sorry, I don't mean to be insensitive, but I try to let it go, basically is what I'm saying. Because it does no good for my heart. It does no good for my skin. I don't want wrinkles because I'm walking around holding a grudge against somebody. But I do think that there are times when we allow things to deposit in our heart, seeds of hurts or resentment or rejection or abandonment or anger, and we don't know it. We're unaware. We think that we've gone to the altar and we've laid that thing down. We've let it go. We've forgiven that person, our parent, our friend, our ex-lover, whatever it is. But somehow that seed, the root of it, has not been plucked up. And so it's our responsibility to pluck up the root. So as we were on this call and we were really talking about offense and asking God for forgiveness for anyone that we've held a grudge against, anyone that we've had offense against. And I remember thinking, I don't have any alt in my heart toward anybody, and I don't feel like anybody has offended me. And don't you know, the moment that I began to pursue that seriously, because after I had that thought, I said, okay, but here's the thing. We could think a thing, but we should always trust God to guide us the rest of the way, because we are not all-knowing. We are not omnipresent. We are not omnipotent. We are not the Father. So we need to trust him that he will guide us to where we need to be, to understand what we need to understand, to get delivered from what we need to be delivered from. Sometimes we need to be delivered from things we are not aware of. And so I took the time to say, but Lord, if there is anything hidden in my heart that I am not aware of, please make me aware of that so I can bring that before you. I can lay that down, and that thing will no longer hinder me from doing what it is that you've called me to do. And immediately, instantaneously, the Lord brought before my mind a woman that I worked with like 12 years ago. 12 years ago. And my first thought was, I ain't mad at that girl. I was like, Lord, really her? I'm not mad at her. I mean, she was wrong for what she did, but I moved on. And then the Lord said, If you saw this woman in public, would you embrace her? Would you hug her? Would you speak, with joy in your heart? And I thought, probably not. And so I had to get right then and there. And so, y'all know it turned into like a snot and mess, because I was like, oh, Jesus, I didn't know, Lord. And so, and beyond me not knowing, I was very grateful that the Lord considered me enough to allow me to get my stuff right. And that was 12 years ago. But it was something that was hidden in my heart that I didn't know, because I have not seen her also in 12 years. And this was a situation where she really just didn't like me. So I said a little bit earlier, there's millions of people on the earth. And so if you don't like me, no big deal. But the truth of the matter is, there was a time where I really cared about you liking me. I really did. I was that kid who I would share my candy with you in school, because I really cared. I would share everything. I would give it away. I would give you everything that I had, because I just needed you to be my friend. And I know that the Lord has helped me to deal with that over the years. And throughout time, I have gotten better and better and better and better at that. And so I've depended less on man than I have on God. And I really do feel like I'm in a real strong place where I just trust and believe that what God has for me is for me, and I can't worry about what other people are doing around me. I can't be looking to the left and to the right of me. I got to look straight, because if I do like what Peter did and I take my eyes off of Jesus, I'm going to sink. There's a heavy calling on my life. There's a lot of things that God has said, I want you to do, LaShunda. And if I start focusing on all the other people around me and all the drama around me, then I wouldn't, and I shouldn't say all the drama around me, but all the drama that the enemy wants to bring in my life, because there isn't drama. I dismiss that. I don't allow that to happen into my life. So, but if I allowed it, I'm going to take my eyes off the prize. I am the bus driver on this bus, and there are people seated on the bus. And if I cannot get to my destination, the people who I'm driving won't either. So I need to focus. But God allowed me to understand that thing, to uproot that thing. And I've had a piece that I didn't know I was missing before, just by coming to the Lord and asking him to forgive me for holding that offense. So that's a real good point that I'm trying to make, is you're asking for forgiveness for holding offense against your brother or sister. You need to do that. Yes, you, okay? You need to go to God right now and say, if there's anybody who I have not forgiven, anybody who I've not held peace. And it really, this is going to sound controversial, but it really doesn't matter what they did. It doesn't. It could be the most horrific act that you can think of. But if there's a person in your life that you have not forgiven, that forgiveness is like a cancer, and it is eating you alive. And you will not walk in your purpose in the way that God intends for you to walk into your purpose and through your purpose if you will not let that go. Let it go. Give your heart to Jesus. He knows what to do with it. Okay? He's big and bad enough that he will know what to do with your heart. He will care for it delicately in a way that no man, I'm talking to my sisters out there, in a way that no man, so that man, that brother that hurt you, that father,